People in Zimbabwe were shocked and surprised when thieves targeted Ecobank Zimbabwe. This bank was robbed in a very clever operation, and the thieves got away with a huge amount of money, $4 million US. This news scared many people in Zimbabwe. They started to worry about whether their money was safe in banks. Everyone was talking about the robbery. They couldn't believe that so much money could just disappear. It seemed impossible. People wondered how the robbers did it, and if the bank's security was strong enough. This robbery showed everyone that even places that seem very safe can be robbed. In the days after the robbery, people talked about it everywhere. They asked, how could this happen? And who planned this? When the thieves stole $4 million US from Ecobank Zimbabwe, it was a very important event for the country's banks. It showed that even the places where people keep their money are not safe from criminals. This robbery left people with many unanswered questions and made them feel uncertain about the safety of their money in Zimbabwe. The police in Zimbabwe, called the ZRP, immediately started a big investigation to find out who robbed Ecobank. They wanted to catch the robbers and get the stolen money back. Everyone in the country was watching the ZRP closely, hoping they would solve the crime. The detectives worked very hard. They looked for clues everywhere. They talked to people who worked at the bank, watched videos from the bank's security cameras, and looked at all the bank's financial records. They wanted to understand exactly what happened. It was a very difficult investigation, and the police needed help from special experts in finance and computer security. Even though the ZRP tried their best, they couldn't find the robbers or the money. Because the police couldn't find any answers, people started guessing about what happened, and rumors spread. This made people even more worried. As time passed, people became impatient. They wanted the police to catch the robbers and find the money. The Ecobank robbery became a big test for the police. Everyone was watching to see if they could solve the crime. The robbery at Ecobank had consequences that went beyond just the stolen money. It made people scared and worried about keeping their money in banks. They didn't know if their savings were safe anymore. The robbery showed everyone that even places that are supposed to keep our money safe can be robbed by clever criminals. The fact that so much money was stolen from a well-known bank like Ecobank made people lose trust in banks. Because of this robbery, people started looking at other banks more carefully too. They wanted to know if their own banks were doing enough to keep their money safe. People wondered if they should be worried about their own money. The Ecobank robbery showed everyone that we can't always trust banks completely. It reminded us that even though we use computers and phones to do our banking now, there are still people who might try to steal our money. After the Ecobank robbery, it was clear that it would take a long time for people to trust banks in Zimbabwe again. It was the responsibility of the banks, the government, and the police to work together to make banks safer and make people feel confident about keeping their money in the banks again. Ecobank had a lot of work to do to make its customers trust them again. The bank needed to be honest and open about what happened and tell everyone what steps they were taking to prevent something like this from happening again. The robbery was a warning for all banks in Zimbabwe. It showed them that they needed to check their security systems, including their physical security, computer security, and internal rules. Banks needed to use the latest technology and train their staff to be prepared for clever criminals. The Ecobank robbery was a very important event for banks in Zimbabwe. It showed how vulnerable banks could be, it made people lose trust, and it showed that things needed to change. To make people trust banks again, everyone needed to work together. The banks, the government, and the police. The future of Zimbabwe's financial sector depended on it.